Oh, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little look at r/relationships. So if you would like to be really nosy with me and snoop on other people's relationship issues, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please, thank you. And of course, quick disclaimer, any opinions that I give on the posts we read are just opinions, not facts, don't need to be taken as such. If you have a differing opinion, that is perfectly fine. Feel free to leave it in the comments. Just make sure you're keeping it respectful. There is no need to be mean to people just because you do not agree. With that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? Okay then, so this first one was posted by Eternal Bobcat 33. I need tips in ending my relationship with my 28M fiance, 28M. My fiance and I have been together for about 4.5 years, engaged for almost 2 years. By the way, I scribbled out the TLDR because I hate when people put it at the top because it's like a spoiler, so I scribbled it out. I have recently come to the conclusion that it's time to end things, and I need encouragement/guidance on how best to approach this. To put it simply, I feel that I have outgrown the relationship and that we aren't very compatible anymore. I've been checked out for a while now, but he's still very much in love, and I don't think he'll see this coming. We live together, share finances, have 3 cats together, 2 are his, and it's going to devastate him. Honestly, I think you've just got to kind of just bite the bullet and do it. If that's the case, it's not fair to keep continuing in a relationship for either of you that one of you is checked out of. There's been a lot of stresses and challenges over the last 1.5 years or so, mainly from my fiance, that has negatively impacted my mental health and well-being, and led me to this conclusion. I've alluded to my inability to hang on and be patient for much longer for months in conversations we've had. He is in an advanced degree program and can't seem to finish it. He was supposed to be done 1.5 years ago, yet rarely works on it, which holds us both back. He is still very much in the college student mindset and smokes a ton of weed, whereas I do not. I used to a lot, but haven't for a year. He makes little to no money as a result, and I've been financially supporting us both for years at this point. I'm talking like 75-25, even more contributions from me as of late. He sometimes verbally acknowledges how hard this is on me and wants to be better, yet his actions don't affirm that. He is addicted to video games and his online friends. He'd rather do this for hours every night than help maintain our life with chores and spend time with me. Honestly, OP, I kind of am wondering why you'd be so worried about hurting his feelings. It sounds like he's been full on using you this whole time. Like, taking you for a complete fool, my friend. Needless to say, I need advice on how best to approach this conversation. I know it will hurt him, and I just have to be upfront and honest for the betterment of both of us. It's hard for me too, especially knowing I'm losing his incredible family and 2 of my 3 furry children. But obviously it's scary, and I'm seeking opinions. Please help, and thank you in advance, you wonderful people. Yeah, definitely. You've just got to bite the bullet and do it. And genuinely, it sounds like he's been taking the OP for an absolute mug this whole time. Like, giving them no attention, giving them nothing, but taking everything. Well, paying 25% of everything, but let's be honest. That's just not good enough with the amount that he's giving back emotionally to the OP. So yeah, it just needs to be done. And honestly, I think the OP is really sweet for being so concerned about his feelings when he's clearly not concerned about the OP's feelings. Update, I did it. Thank you so much to everyone for your very thoughtful replies. It helped a lot, and last night I did rip off the band-aid. It went okay and was a relatively short conversation, which I didn't totally expect. He was more mad than anything that I had just decided it's done and we can't work on things to make it better. But how I feel just is. It's not going to change, and it's not fair on either of us to keep up the charade. He's mad that I seemingly don't know the meaning of a commitment and promise we made when we got engaged. I'm sorry, but it seems the OP's the only one who's been committing effort to this. But in the end, he's gonna feel how he feels. And I know in my gut that this is the right decision for both of us, no matter how jarring and difficult it's going to be. Now, on to the figuring out the logistics of separating our lives. Oh, goodness, yeah, that's the tricky part. I'm thankful I have work to jet off to during the day, and I'm glad his off days from work are today and tomorrow, so he has ample time to process on his own initially. I am also going to visit my family out of town this weekend, which I think will be a good separation, and have a vacation planned for a week across the country to visit my best friend at the end of the month. Yeah, I love that. You've got to find things to do when you're going through like a tricky time, breaking up and, as the OP says, separating your lives. You just got to find those little things that give you just some mental respite from it, don't you? So I think, yeah, going to see family will be a great thing for the OP. I'm holding it together, even though I've cried a lot yesterday and today, but I'm proud of myself too. Thanks again. I doubt I'll have another update, but who knows? Yeah, honestly, and that's the thing, like, I totally get the OP saying I've cried a lot too, because even though they were mentally checked out, it doesn't mean you just magically stop caring for the person, and it doesn't mean you don't like grieve the relationship and what it should have been or could have been. So yeah, it takes time, doesn't it? Even when you know it's for the best, even when you know that the relationship just cannot continue, it's toxic or whatever, it's still upsetting when you have to do it. So, down in the comments, individual Foxlike says, the number one thing for you to focus on is this. The longer you draw it out, the harder it is on everyone involved. Your goal is to get from point A, together, to point B, completely separated, as quickly as possible so that you can both start to heal. He will be upset. That's okay. He will try to bargain with you. Don't give in. No extra chances. This is not a debate and you aren't going to be convinced to keep trying. Tell him you want to break up, give him 30 days to be out, and do not budge. If he wants to be friends, you need a bare minimum of 60 days of zero contact first to reset your boundaries. I would say longer. And let your feelings cool. If he can't afford it, that's not your problem. He has friends and family. 30 days to get out, 60 days minimum of zero contact. That's not negotiable. Honestly, I think the hardest part for me would be leaving those two cats behind. Like, I'd be like, can I take them, please? So, next post, Intrepid Library 425 says, I 35F am overwhelmed by my husband's 35M expectations. We have been married for 6 years and have moved across the country twice in this time for his career. I am a full-time stay-at-home mum to 2 toddlers. Over the past year, my husband has insisted that I need to get a job, even though we do not need the income. We max out retirement contributions each year, have investments, and maintain significant savings. After a lot of difficulty finding something that would work with his schedule and our children, I finally found a remote job with flexible hours. I currently work a consulting job about 15 hours per week. To make it work, I also hire a sitter for a small portion of that time, about 6 hours per week, though it's not nearly enough to fully cover my work hours. Even with this setup, I find it extremely stressful to work while caring for 2 toddlers. Yeah, I bet. You're doing 9 hours of a consulting job where you're literally juggling both. I'm constantly interrupted, often having to stop what I'm doing dozens of times a day, which makes it very difficult to focus or complete tasks efficiently. Now he wants me to increase my hours to 20 per week. At the same time, he dismisses the work I'm already doing because I rely on a sitter. How does he expect you to work more hours if he doesn't want you to have a sitter? But he wants me to hire a sitter so I can reach 20 hours. I assumed he would discount this increased effort as well. This leaves me feeling like no matter how much I do, it is never considered enough. I feel like I'm constantly being told I'm not trying hard enough or not working hard enough, even though I'm doing everything I realistically can within the limits of childcare and our current setup. Will you get off the microphone, please? Stop. I feel like I'm constantly being told I am not trying hard enough or not working hard enough, even though I am doing everything I realistically can within the limits of childcare and our current setup. I would love a resolution. How can we make this work in a way that is realistic and fair for both of us? Honestly, I think that he is asking the impossible on purpose. I don't know what purpose it is. Whether he's trying to drive the OP away, whether he is just doing it for funsies, because I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. It just doesn't make sense, does it? Like, the OP literally cannot win. TLDR, I'm a stay-at-home mum of 2 toddlers working a remote job about 15 hours a week, but childcare makes it very difficult to focus. My husband, despite our strong financial situation, wants me to increase to 20 hours and dismisses the effort I'm already putting in. I feel overwhelmed and like my work is never considered enough. So, down in the comments, Itchy Somewhere 6266 says, the husband's logic doesn't really add up here. He tells you to hire a sitter so you can work more, but then uses the sitter as a reason to dismiss the work. Which literally does not make sense, by the way, because you're literally doing the work. That's moving the goalpost no matter how you look at it. Worth having a very direct conversation where you ask him to explain exactly what enough looks like to him, because from the outside it seems like the target keeps changing. And then Brief Horror says he's trying to get her to 40 hours eventually to get a better divorce settlement. Oh, okay. So then Stew514 says, not a legal expert by any means, but I would also think having a documented expense for childcare that allows her to work would give the husband more leverage compared to a stay-at-home mum with no income. Right, yeah, I suppose so. And then Ralph Wastoid319 says, husband logic certainly adds up. He is likely playing a long game to minimise expenses down the road. Considering that his job completely allows her to be a stay-at-home mum, it is probably debt or divorce. Interesting, yeah. So, next post posted by Trix. 27M, 25F. My girlfriend came home from work and found a lighter in the bathroom that isn't hers or mine and thinks I had someone over. My girlfriend and I have been together for about over a year, and she's never accused me of anything like this before. Yesterday I took her to work at 4 PM. After I got home, I pretty much spent the entire evening on my PC. The only other things I did were trim and line up my beard in the bathroom and take the dog for about a 15-minute walk. At 10 PM, I went to pick her up from work. When we got home, she went into the bathroom and came back holding an orange lighter. She asked, "Whose lighter is this?" I honestly had no idea. At first I thought maybe it was mine and had fallen out of the bathroom cabinet where I keep my clippers and grooming stuff. But she said she had never seen that lighter before and that it definitely wasn't hers. From that point on, she became convinced I had someone over while she was at work. I kept telling her I didn't. I swear on everything that nobody came over, and I genuinely do not know where that lighter came from. What makes this even stranger is that I was in that same bathroom a few hours earlier trimming my beard, and I had never noticed a lighter sitting by the sink. If it had been there, I feel like I would have seen it. Now you say that. You say that, but let's be honest, there isn't the whole phenomenon called the man look for nothing. She spent hours upset, crying, and asking who I had over. She even left for about 45 minutes before coming back. We went to bed, and when we woke up the next morning, she was still just as upset and still doesn't believe me. Okay. So, let's have a think of what the reasons could be here. 1, a ghost put it there. Naughty. 2, it was there all along and the OP looked completely past it, which I would believe legitimately. 3, the girlfriend's put it there and forgot. Like, I don't know how, but she's put it there and forgot. Or 4, the girlfriend's planted it there because she's done something she shouldn't have done and now wants to find an excuse to kick up a fuss with the OP, which, you know, sounds really outlandish and just over the top, but I've read posts like that before where, like, one of them's cheated, so then they've tried to set up the other one to make it look like instead they're guilty of doing something, but actually, in fact, it was them all along, you know? So, it wouldn't be the first time. I've tried explaining everything and answering every question honestly, but nothing seems to help her. She's never accused me of cheating or having someone over before, which is why this has completely caught me off guard. Has anyone dealt with something similar? How would you handle this situation if you were in my shoes? TLDR, my girlfriend found an orange lighter in our bathroom that neither of us recognise. She believes it proves I had someone over while she was at work, but I truly didn't, and have no idea where the lighter came from. She doesn't believe me, and I don't know what else to do. Honestly, if she is that determined to not believe you, I don't think there's an awful lot you can do at that point. I would be saying, look, love, it ain't mine, and I haven't had anyone round. And if you can't get your head around that, then feel free to take the door, because I can't be doing this over a friggin' lighter, you know? So, down in the comments, Hey China says, one time I was on vacation with my spouse and couldn't find my hairbrush. We were at a B&B, there was a mystery hairbrush in our room. It was the right colour, purple, and the hairs in it looked like my hair, quite long and brown, but I was 100% adamant that it was not my hairbrush and I had never seen that brush in my life. And also, mine was missing. Eventually, my spouse convinced me that all the evidence suggested it was my hairbrush, even if my brain was having a moment. I mean, yeah, there is also that, but if they both don't recognise the lighter, like, what is the likelihood that they're both having a bit of a brain fart moment? Which is to say, brains are weird. If you guys routinely own lighters and carry them around in pockets, chances are it is one of yours you just forgot about. I hope she can recognise this and chill. So, TreeP30 says, sounds like you experience jamais vu. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Your brain can somehow forget things and make something feel foreign to you. Oh yeah, definitely. That can absolutely happen. I don't know. Okay, then last post for the day. Impossible Shake 8554 says, our neighbours have marital problems and now we're somehow involuntarily involved. Our neighbours 42F and 44M have 2 kids, M10 and M6. Me and my wife, W30 and W35, moved in a few years ago and also have 2 kids, M6 and M4. Since we have moved in, our kids have been friends. Me and my wife have been incredibly happy that our sons have friends so close by. It gives them a lot of independence. They meet without us having to be too involved in setting up play dates. They spend a lot of time together and get to kind of regulate themselves, setting up rules, dealing with injustices, and so on. Something 6-year-olds in our area seldom get to do because parents tend to hover. We have been friendly with the parents, but we talk more about the kids, if it's okay that they'll be over, that we're cooking, if they can eat with us, and so on. Last year, we found out the husband is having an affair with a friend. Little shite bag. Naughty boy. We didn't really know if we should do something about it. We don't know our neighbours too well and didn't want to risk our kids' friendship, so we kept it to ourselves. Oh, so you found out before the wife found out? Nah, I'd feel too guilty knowing. I'd have to tell her. I've had a bad feeling about the husband since we met him. I don't know how to describe it, but my instincts was to stay away from him. He has been flirty with my wife, made weird comments about the kids, talks in a subtle way about his wife and kids, but up front he has this weird fake niceness that people obviously buy because he's very well liked. He's smart and subtle, and I have noticed that the neighbours who are not close to the wife dislike her a lot, which has always struck me as odd. They say stuff like she has him on a tight leash or that she is uptight and so on. When asked why they say that, they always have stories about how difficult it is for her husband. So I think he tells these stories to appear like a victim and a great dad. I dislike that a lot about him. He also sometimes talks bad about his kids, which is even worse. He humiliates them in front of people in a way that is obviously horrible for the kids, but people perceive that as him being on top of things. I really don't know if what I'm describing makes sense. No, I can imagine the exact type of person. Yeah. For an outsider, it would seem like regular parenting, but we know the kids very well, and we also know what kind of values the parents have and what is seen as good and bad at their place. But very often, when they show that around other people, they get reprimanded on a very personal level to make it seem like it's an inferior quality and part of the kid's personality. So, anyways, my wife was at a party a few months ago where she didn't know many people, so she got talking with him. They talked about the kids and their spouses, and every time he tried to make them look bad, my wife would interject, especially regarding the kids, because they are over a lot and she really can't stand when people talk bad about their children, but it was still a nice chat. There was some flirting at the beginning, which is not something we care about in our relationship. Every time he would get too forward, she'd reject him. There was a point where she went to the bathroom, and he followed her. She froze because she did not feel like he would let her get out of the situation safely. She was mad that she misjudged him, but a mutual friend saw them, grabbed her, and got her out. He continued to be very pushy throughout the night. She rejected him, tried different things to get away from him, but he didn't accept that. So she got to a point where she told him to get away from her, that she knew about the affair, and that even if she did find him attractive, which she didn't, she wasn't going to be the third option for anyone. He got scared and backed off. I would love to know how OP and their wife found out about the affair. The next day we talked a lot about the night. I was happy that she got away unharmed and pretty angry that he obviously didn't respect her as a person or her boundaries. Anyway, since that night, his wife has been extremely mad at us. She has avoided all contact. The first few weeks the kids weren't allowed to come over. Now that they do come over, she doesn't directly talk to us, doesn't say hello. Every interaction she can't get out of is very tense and uncomfortable. It's exhausting. I'm pretty sure he spun the story in a way that would again make him look like a victim. We don't really know what to do. She's not going to believe her neighbour over her husband, especially since that would jeopardise her comfortable life, but it's exhausting. I think there is no way to win in situations like these because I see him as somewhat ruthless. Maybe it's a bit less that the wife is angry at the OP and their wife, and it's more that the wife is being controlled by this bloke. And now she's too worried to talk against him. Because again, if the OP and their wife found out about this bloke having an affair, it must be to some degree the talk of the town, the talk of the street, whatever. And things like that, they don't stay buried for very long when enough people know about it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. I feel like maybe it's that more than anything, because if everyone slags off the wife when she seemed like quite a nice person, it makes me think that this guy is very manipulative. So if he's manipulative with other people and manages to spin himself as the victim and, his wife is so terrible to him and blah, 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 and she's such an awful person, and having people think that way to basically isolate her, what's to say this isn't happening here too, now that he knows the jig is up, his secret's out, and it makes him look bad. Does anyone have some kind of advice? As I said, we're not friends, but it would be nice to have a neighbour that's not constantly pissed when she hears or sees us. To be honest, I wouldn't even care because their marriage is obviously a mess. As I said, my instinct was always to stay away from him, which would still be what I'd do if we were not neighbours and our kids weren't friends. TLDR, our neighbour tried it on with my wife, got rejected, and now his wife is mad at both of us. Honestly, I would go nuclear at this point and just tell everyone about his affair. He wants to keep up appearances so bad. Oh, tough. Tough titties. But that's just me. That's probably not going to help at all and is not good advice. So, edit. So, just to clarify, since the incident, we've not let our kids go over there. Because of him, of course, but also because she has been so mad that I wouldn't feel comfortable with the kids over there. Still, we're happy when their kids come over. They're great kids and feel comfortable around us. I don't care if their parents use us as cheap babysitters, within reason, and they're going to go through a lot when this gets out anyways. I don't want to add to that. Yeah, and it will get out. Believe me, it will get out. So, down in the comments, exit to your left says, "You're acting like you have no agency here and that it's completely useless to speak to the wife at all. Why not broach the subject of why she's so upset? You could tactfully ask her what is going on, why she's so tense, etc. If it were me, I'd probably use that same conversation as an opener to let her know that her husband made your wife wildly uncomfortable at a party. Her husband was so out of line that another person noticed and intervened, and you're just saying nothing? I don't understand this weird eggshell dance thing you're doing. The neighbour's wife knows she's upset, you know she's upset. Why not acknowledge that? This neighbour is pissed at you when you're well within your rights to be pissed at them. Who cares if she believes you or not? You should say something to her. You should say something to both of them. Yeah, I definitely think that you should just say something. And even, if anything, actually, knowing what he's like, knowing what a dirtbag he is, knowing that he's manipulated everyone into hating his own wife, I would honestly be trying to pull her to the side and just be like, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? Blink twice if you need help. you know, maybe not that upfront about it, but yeah, I would definitely try to at least check in with her. So, OP then goes on to say, to be honest, it feels like we don't really have a chance. As the other commenter said, we're two women and that does change the dynamic. We're not taken seriously in a lot of situations. People either pretend like we're college roommates or they fetishize us. Yeah, I can imagine. It often feels like people like our neighbours are waiting for us to grow out of it and we'll ultimately end up with a man anyway. And since we're close by, one of us is inevitably ending up with him. Ew. Heaven forbid. That's also why he doesn't take no for an answer. Also, he's homophobic too. Cool. For him, it's a not yet, because we haven't grown up enough to realise that what we really need is a man. Ugh. No, I hate that so much. I hate that so much. But also, he has a wife. What is he playing at? Like, even if that was the way he sees, like, same-sex couples, it is crazy that he has that attitude when he has a wife. So he's a homophobe, he's a shitbag, he's a manipulator. Yeah, his wife needs to get out immediately. Okay then, so I think that's all we've got time for today. It is 1 in the morning. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you leave a like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven Void. Welcome. And of course, it really does help because Big Al's gone AI and now all he cares about is engagement on the videos. Any way that you can find to diss Big Al, drop it in the comments below. Really let him know what you think. With that being said, whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.